For those that are trying to find the truth, you have to unlearn what you have learned. Throw away everything you ever were taught in the school books and basically start over. Let's take a look at this footage of the moon during the day. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. This is with a Nikon P900 digital camera. Just take a look at this moon here. I'm going to zoom in a bit. One thing I want to explain to people, when they talk about the so-called moon landing, which is nothing more than a hoax. I've stated before, I don't believe the moon is something that can be landed on. Let's take a look at some of this video footage right now. You can clearly see right through the moon. Okay? This is something that is more like a disc. You never see the other side of the moon, the so-called dark side of the moon. For those that understand the flat earth theory, yes, it's the moon's within the firmament. But again, like the Bible says, it's a light. Okay, don't get it. Don't be confused with what science says. Okay, let's continue on here a little bit more. You can see the transparency. You can see twinkles. As well. Almost like stars being seen through the moon. And also just take a look at the edges. They're not uniformed. I believe the moon is more like, when you look at a ceiling light, semi-rounded in the front, again, but flat in the back. Taking a look again, when you can see right through it. Okay? Seeing the sky right through the moon. Get a little bit of a close-up again. You can definitely see right through the moon here. Okay? If it was a sphere, this wouldn't happen. Okay? Again, the moon is not something that can be landed on. Okay, now look at these images of the moon from the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere. These are the so-called northern hemisphere and so-called southern hemisphere. See it flipped over. Okay, now why is this on the flat earth model? Let's take a look, for example, at a ceiling light in a living room. Now just imagine this is a southern hemisphere and the so-called northern hemisphere on the other side. This is how you're going to get it. It's going to be flipped around. Just like you see here with this crude image, the smiley face I made. You're standing here on the northern side, for example. You're going to see an upside down smile. You're standing here. You're going to see it right side. That's exactly what you're seeing here. So when you see the flat earth model, of course, you know, this is just a rough image of the so-called flat earth. I believe it's more like a square within a circle within a square, I should say. Bottom line is, again, if you're in Australia, you know, and you're here, for example, in the U.S., and the moon's, say, for example, around here, that's why you see it like this. Okay? Again, the living room example. Now, talking about the moon, again, let's take a look at the moon during the daytime. Now, understand, we live on a ball earth. How is it possible that we have the moon in the sky during the day? We get the sun. Obviously, the sun is out. It's above the horizon. You see the blue sky. So what is going on the other side of the so-called ball earth? They're not getting any sun. They're not getting any moon. It doesn't make sense. It's a little bit of a close-up. Definitely, the moon, again, as the Bible states, is its own light from Genesis 1:16. And God made two great lights, the greater light to rule the day and the lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also. Also notice, planets are not mentioned during creation. Planets do not exist. Everything you see is within the firmament. Now again, just proving that the moon creates its own light, as I shown before with this image aboard this cruise ship in Alaska, you definitely see the moon completely illuminated. It's complete darkness. Okay, but look at this. As you pan around, you get complete light. Okay, you have light here. So what's going on here? If you truly believe that the moon gets a reflection off the sun. Why isn't the rest of the sky illuminated? Why is it dark? You see the beam of light straight on the ocean. This wouldn't happen. People can't wrap their mind around this. Because all they have been fed again is lies. They're trying to come to conclusions when all they have to work with is lies. Just like this image of the moon during the day. Okay? What's up with this? It should be fully illuminated. The sun and the moon are both above the horizon. This should not happen if the sun, basically gives light to the moon. Supposedly reflecting the sun's light. This would not happen. Now, people talk about phases. It's just like this game here. It's like almost, this is a form of mockery. They're telling us, phases are controlled, not because of the sun. It's basically by God. Superpower. The moon is a mystery that the human mind cannot comprehend. Again, if you're trying to figure out the truth through the lies of the textbooks, and you're trying to dig into the textbooks and find some truth in there, good luck, when all we have been fed are lies. And talking about programming, I'm going to play a previous video from my old channel showing all the programming from childhood. Just more truth in plain sight, which seems ridiculous with something like Sesame Street. Again, they brainwashed the youth throughout the years. It starts at a very early age. They say get them while they're young. And you see the connection with Sesame Street and the government. They're all working together as one. Everything you see on TV is controlled by those that run this world. Again, connection with Sesame Street and NASA as well. Again, all of TV basically are one, working together to manipulate the minds of the masses into the lie system that we all been born into and very few can see through. Of the moon with the latest digital camera on the market, it's the Nikon P900 Coolpix with 83 times optical zoom lens. Find this pretty interesting. Right here, I'm going to stop it. Now look at the edges of the moon. To me, it doesn't look like it's a sphere. I mean, if this was a sphere, the edges would be rounded. Especially this chunk that seems to be missing right here. Doesn't add up. I mean, we've been told it's a sphere. What's the deal with this? Now, I find this pretty interesting from Sesame Street with Cookie Monster. And just take a look at the footage. This very well could be truth in plain sight.
See all the pretty stars twinkle, twinkle. But you know what we like to look at best of all? The moon. It's so big and round. You know what moon reminds me of? It reminds me of great, big, delicious cookie. Imagine what we'd do if moon was cookie. He put on a spacesuit and up through the night. Me ride in a rocket to go take a bite. Me take flight.
And there you go. Possibly truth in plain sight. With the moon being nothing more than a disk. Just a little bit more of a close-up. Again, to take a look at the edges. The edges should be rounded in, like I said earlier. Just doesn't seem right. It's very possible the moon isn't a sphere. Now, taking a look at these photos with Sesame Street visiting the White House. Completely ridiculous, if you ask me. This one's from the Nixon era. And of course, more recently with Michelle Obama. Now let's take a look at some photos with a connection again with NASA and Sesame Street. They say get them while they're young. Filling the kids with the illusion that astronauts went to the moon. Brainwashing at its finest. And of course, Buzz Aldrin on Sesame Street. Why not? He's a Muppet too, with his Masonic ring. And another connection with NASA and Sesame Street. This one from back in 2014. Again showing the cookie, which symbolizes the moon. And this article's about bringing momentums into space. Let's take a look here. I'm trying to find the flight test. Also will carry several items that will be used to inspire future generations. NASA and Sesame Street have joined forces to promote importance of studying science, technology, engineering, and math, and teach students about the importance of human spaceflight. Cookie Monster's Cookie, Ernie's Rubber Ducky, Slimy the Worm, Grover's Cape will fly 3,600 miles above Earth and come back, take a prize spot on the Sesame Street set where millions of children will watch. What a complete joke. These people have no shame. They lie to us, they lie to the kids, they lie to everybody. We're sick and twisted. We live in a sick world with psychopaths at the steering wheel.
Yep. Oh. Earth. Yep. Book. Oh. Nope. Oh, stars. Stars. Yep. Stars. Yep. Oh. Earth. Yep. Earth. Yep. Oh. Nope. Moon. Yep. Moon. Yep. Oh. Earth. Yep. Earth. Yep. Oh. Nope. Oh. Pigs. Yep. Pigs. Oink. Pigs. Yep. Oh. Earth. Yep. Earth. Yep. Oh. Earth. Yep. Earth. Oh. Yep. Big Earth. Good Earth. Yep.